Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to part 2 for your weekly reading for the week of January 17th. Part 1 is linked up down below in the comments if you haven't watched it already. And this is part 1, but we're just going to clarify through this and see what comes up for you. With your sea turtle, you also have the deer, which says power. We were kind of talking about power with the chariot. The chariot is the card of willpower. The chariot is also a card of hard control. There are two cards of control in the tarot, chariot and also the strength card. Strength card is a card of soft control. There are other cards that represent controlling, like the emperor, but these are cards of control, meaning you taking control. So you have this power card, and I do feel like you could be taking your power back. It's also interesting, there's like this deer on it, obviously, because it's called the deer, but you also have this deer card in the in this deck here. So a lot of this deer energy. Deer, their antlers kind of represent antenna, and it kind of represents tapping into, tuning into your intuition and things like that as well. So stands out to me. We were talking in your first reading about blessings that could be coming in for you, and I feel like there are blessings coming in, but just not how you think, like we were talking about. And so let's see. With the Ten of Pentacles, you have the Two of Cups. Again, for some of you, I do feel like there's love available to you, but it looks like you either have to leave a situation to have the love, or something needs to change. I don't know. It could be your location, where you live, because you have the Chariot and also the Two of Cups. These two people are meant to look very different. They come from two totally different backgrounds. So it can represent love coming in for you, but it might be someone who's very different than you, or someone who comes from a different background, someone who comes from a different location. Also, with the Devil in this first row, like I was saying, I do feel there's a need to let go of something from the past. It could be a person, it doesn't have to be. It could be, like, again, where you live. It could be your family. It could be moving away from your family, which a lot of people seem to be doing right now. Not everybody, but a lot of people. So there's like something that needs to be released. With the Chariot, you have the Seven of Cups, too much thinking. I do feel like there is too much thinking going on here. I'm an Aquarius rising, right? I'm an Aquarius rising. I'm a Gemini moon. I think people don't realize I just like sit around and I think all day long. Like literally I will just, and I'm a Pisces to boot. So it's like, you want to talk about daydreaming and getting lost daydreaming. I mean, that's like my middle name. Like I'll be staring out the window and I'll just totally lose track of time, right? So, what I'll say here is I'm saying this because I feel like you could be kind of like getting into this energy where there's like a lot of this like daydreaming going on. But there isn't very much work going on, and maybe that's what needs to change. Like maybe there just needs to be a little bit more work, a little bit more effort, so you can make this dream, whatever your dream is, the blessings that you were dreaming of having. I feel like there's some work that needs to be done. I always tell a funny story. When I was like in, I don't know, I think I was in second grade or something like that. My teacher, we had to do the sheet where she was like literally walking us through the sheet that we had to fill out. No, it wasn't second grade. It must have been fifth grade, and I was older. I was like much older than that. And so she fills out this whole entire sheet. I was staring out the window the whole entire time. And it was like an hour later, I look at my sheet. I hadn't done anything and everybody else was done. So that's this energy right here. It's like it's like your brain is like walking you through something. But I see you kind of like thinking about all these other things that could happen or might happen or will happen or blah, blah, blah. And I feel like you need to get away from that confusion. With the Devil, you have the Temperance card. Again, you can turn any situation around. You don't have to stay stuck. The Devil in the Temperance card is about, turning a negative into a positive. Temperance can be turning a positive into a negative as well. You have a choice. But it's kind of a card that says there might be a turnaround. Again, if you're trying to set yourself free from any situation at all, I kind of like the Temperance card with the Devil, because the Temperance card would say there is a turnaround coming in for you. With your first house card, look at this, more deer symbolism. Deer could be a totem animal for you at this time. It says opposition, confrontation. I feel like this is what you are fearing, is confrontations, or just any confrontation in your life here, Aquarius. So these confrontations, I would say, mostly have to do with the Devil energy. It's like you're fearing that there's going to be a confrontation or a battle, maybe between you and another person, maybe between you and your family, or, could be anything, really. With that Ace of Swords, you have the Devil. Isn't that funny? The Ace of Swords, remember what we were saying. The Ace of Swords basically says you have to live your truth. And the Devil is kind of like you needing to take those chains off from around your neck. The Ace of Swords represents a sacrifice. This could be a difficult decision that you're making here, Aquarius, because the Ace of Swords, it represents a sacrifice because there's this palm frond right here. Palm fronds in the tarot represent a sacrifice. It's kind of like the sword cuts both ways, right? It's sharp on both sides. But there are these 6 golden yods right here, and they represent perfect balance. They represent things being in perfect balance. And I kind of feel that this energy here is like saying you have to sacrifice something that is not allowing you to live your dream, or to at least attempt to live your dream, right? I feel like something is maybe preventing you from grounding something in reality. With the 7 of Cups, you have the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords says don't rush. I also wouldn't rush back to the past with the Knight of Swords, but Knight of Swords says don't rush. I would be careful who you're taking advice from with the 7 of Cups as well. Knight of Swords is like my card of getting a second opinion. But with the 7 of Cups, it could say that you're getting advice from people who are just bad at giving advice, I always say, I personally, this is a personal thing. I'm not telling you what to do, right? People always get offended, but whatever. I don't care. But what I would say is that I only take advice from people whose life I would trade places with, right? Where I would only take advice from people who I'm like, I would live their life. It's just that simple. And what I would say here is I would be careful if you have people in your life who are telling you what to do and you wouldn't trade places with them. I'd be careful of that. With the Magician, you have the 10 of Wands. This is too much forceful energy, I would say. Magician says you can manifest things, use your powers of manifestation. With the Magician, we were talking about choosing the tool that you're going to be using to manifest your dreams, Pentacles, Cups, Swords, Wands, whatever. But I kind of feel there's a need to use your your powers of manifestation with this card. I also feel like you're about to release your burdens. He's about to hit this village here. He's about to let go of everything that has been holding him back for a very long period of time. With the Caterpillar and the Unicorn, you have the cat and the turkey. The cat says a two-faced friend, and if it wants to focus. And the turkey says someone is behaving stupidly. So I do feel for some of you, you are trying to separate away from this energy of a person with the devil energy. It could be a lover, it doesn't have to be. It could be like a parent or something like that. But I do feel like someone could be kind of holding you back or doesn't want you to leave the nest. We've been having a lot of this energy in the readings in general over the past few weeks. I personally have been getting, not personally, but I've been doing a lot of these readings where the readings I feel like are encouraging people to kind of spread their wings and fly and get away from, what they have always known. So I'd be careful of that with this energy. I don't really feel it's bad, but whatever. With the Hierophant, you have the Queen of Cups. More energy that I would say is saying it's more important that you make decisions from your own center. What do you want? What do you want to do? And that could be a little bit of a challenge, right? Figuring out, we kind of talked about this again in the first reading. What do you want your life to look like? Not what does everybody else want Aquarius's life to look like. With the 4 of Cups, you have the 9 of Cups. Definitely wishes or wish fulfillment coming in for you. 9 of Cups, of course, is a great wish card. So I do feel like there are wishes coming in for you. Remember, I was saying on the 4 of Cups in the first reading, it's you might not be manifesting these blessings how you think. They might be coming into your life in a very different way. Part of me, this is going to sound crazy, right? But part of me wonders if Neptune and Pisces, will be long dead the next time Neptune comes back to Pisces. But sometimes I wonder if something like Neptune and Pisces happens because it's almost like an opportunity for people to level up on a karmic level. We all have those stories in our family of people talk about a family curse and things like that. I don't really believe in family curses, but it's there's always a person in a family that has to break the cycle. There could be a cycle of abuse. There could be a cycle of maybe everybody works in a certain job and someone has to break that cycle and go get a different type of job. Maybe everybody works in a certain industry. Maybe, families, sometimes we all tend to have the same story. It's our parents were raised a certain way. We're raised the same way because they were raised a certain way. And it's someone has to break the cycle. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, right? But it's someone has to be the person to level up karmically, as far as karma is concerned. I don't necessarily believe in karma. That's a whole other story. I'm not going to get into it, but in this reading. But what I will say is, again, I feel like someone has to break that cycle, right? I feel like that person is you. with this energy. It's like you could be breaking some sort of cycle in your family, but it does require, it's like not an easy thing to do because it requires you to, look at what the cycle is in the first place. It requires you to make some sort of change. Maybe you have to separate away from your family for a period of time, or maybe you have to move or do something, right? So it's kind of intense, that type of energy. With the Four of Swords, you have the Three of Swords here. Get out of your head. Three of Swords is about forgiveness and letting go of the past. You have to pull those swords out of your heart so you can set yourself free. I'm still not seeing where these blessings are coming in. You have that turkey spirit, which says someone is behaving badly, but, totem animal-wise, the turkey spirit is actually a pretty positive card. The turkey spirit, turkeys, as far as totem animals are concerned, can represent abundance, a harvest, things like that. I just want to see, where are these blessings coming from? You have the Emperor here, and could be an Aries, but it could also be your own hard work is where these blessings are coming from. You have the Hangman as well. Hangman is like a sudden realization. He's put himself in Hangman mode. He's put himself on pause so he can gain enlightenment. So this could be your own wisdom or knowledge is what I'm getting intuitively, Aquarius. And you have the Judgment card, a wake-up call. Some of you, I just feel like little wake-up calls, multiple wake-up calls that you've been having. These could be, how you feel in life in general, or these wake-up calls could be kind of like having moments where you're like, I need to snap out of this situation that I'm in so I can have something better. Let's clarify that, and let's see where this is going for you, Aquarius. With the Emperor, you have the Emperor. So basically the universe saying, I meant what I said. I would stay focused. I feel like, remember what I said as well about action. I do feel like this reading, Seven of Cups, a lot of daydreaming, a lot of, that type of daydreamy energy. You might not be daydreaming, but you might just be doing a lot of deep thought, a lot of deep thinking. That Emperor, I feel like, is your answer. I feel like the answer is like saying, okay, thinking time is over. Trust me, I totally get it. I have a ton of air in my chart, like I said. But what I would say is I feel like it's time for action. With the Hangman, Page of Wands, time for action. Page of Wands is the card of going on an adventure, getting out there, doing something. A lot of adventure energy here. Remember, we were talking about traveling. Maybe you're not literally traveling. Maybe you're, traveling in your mind. Maybe you're learning something new. That is like traveling. You're learning. With the Judgment card, finally, you have the Eight of Wands. Quick success. Good news coming in for you as well. I would pay attention to your wake-up calls. Again, there is an element of needing to... Here's the thing. If you're telling yourself a lot of mental stories about how things are going to work out, Seven of Cups twice, in this middle row right here. And remember what I was saying about that Four of Cups. If you're telling yourself this is how I'm seeing your reading. I don't know a better way of expressing it personally. I feel like you're telling yourself these stories. Things aren't going to work out like that. But that does not mean you're not going to accomplish your goal. It just means how you're going to get there is different than the story you're telling yourself. I feel like this reading is... I don't really feel it saying go with the flow. I feel like it's more saying just be open to spontaneous energies. Page of Wands. It's like maybe you want to manifest a business. It's like maybe you have an idea for one business, but maybe another business appears. Page of Wands says try it. If it works, keep going, right? Same thing in love. It's like maybe you have a certain idea of a type of person you want. Maybe you attract another person. It's not that you're not attracted to them. Maybe it just doesn't look like the vision in your head. Try it. See what happens. Again, I keep telling people, it's like things are pretty simple right now. If we put energy into something and we get energy back, keep moving forward. We have to be honest with ourselves. I keep saying this in love. People always say, give me all these stories about love. Oh, this person did this, that, and they tricked me. And I'm like, nobody really tricks us. It's like let's be honest with ourselves. Every single person I knew, again, if I'm being honest, I knew exactly how every single one of my relationships in my life was going to go, if I'm being honest with myself, right? If I'm looking at those relationships, half the people told me exactly what was going to happen right away, right? With their actions, with their words, with what they did. So if we're being honest with ourselves, we know exactly what's going to happen in a relationship. We just have to be honest with ourselves. So I feel like this is saying just be open, and again, be honest with yourself. Try it. If things work, keep moving in that direction. Plain and simple. This looks pretty good. I like it. So thank you for being here, Aquarius. Really appreciate it. Make sure to watch your Sun, Moon, and Rising for a full picture of what's going on for you at this time. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your week.